Let's just dive right into it. Welcome, apprentices. Look, if you're gearing up to write your Red Seal exam, you probably already know that Section 12 of the Canadian Electrical Code can feel like an absolute beast. But hey, today we're going to make it easy. We are decoding the Section 12 rules specifically for cellular floors. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly how to navigate these rules out in the field. And more importantly, you are going to absolutely crush this topic on exam day. Here's what we're covering today. We'll start with cellular floors and code navigation, then move into conductors and fill limits, check out hardware, splices, and boxes, cover bonding and system extensions, tackle some Red Seal practice questions, and wrap it all up with an exam cheat sheet recap. All right, let's kick things off with cellular floors and code navigation. So what exactly is a cellular floor anyway? Well, out in the field, especially when you're roughing in commercial construction and those massive office towers, you're going to see these hollow voids built right into the metal and concrete floor slabs. Basically, instead of running hundreds of pipes, the building itself acts as a giant raceway system. Pretty cool, right? That's your cellular floor. And as an electrician, your golden rule starts with Rule 12, 1800. Always start by following the manufacturer's installation instructions. The code sets the baseline, sure, but the manufacturer tells you exactly how their specific system goes together safely. Now, you really got to pay attention to where the code absolutely bans you from putting conductors in these floors. Rule 12-1802 outlines these prohibited locations, and let me tell you, this is a classic exam trap. You can run wiring in cellular floors if they're exposed to corrosive vapors, located in commercial garages, or sitting in storage battery rooms. Just think about it realistically for a second. These hollow floors, they can easily trap heavy gases or corrosive fumes. If you have a spark from an electrical fault inside a floor cavity that's filled with battery off-gassing, yeah, that is a disaster just waiting to happen. Another absolutely crucial part of Rule 12-1802 is the separation of services. You cannot, and I mean cannot, mix your insulated or bare electrical conductors in the same cell or header with plumbing, steam, air, gas, or drainage pipes. Water and electricity just do not mix, folks. If a cell absolutely must contain a non-electrical pipe, it has to be completely sealed off from the electrical cells. The Red Seal examiners, they love to ask if you can run a water line in an electrical cell if they are just spaced apart. The answer is a hard no, every single time. Okay, moving right along to conductors and fill limits. So the make or break point here is Rule 12-1804. No bare or insulated conductor larger than number 0 AWG copper or aluminum is permitted to go into a cellular floor. Let me repeat that because I guarantee you're going to see this on your test. Number 0 AWG is the absolute maximum size. The only way you are putting anything bigger in there is if you've somehow snagged a special Rule 2030 deviation from the inspection authority. And let's be real, that's not happening on your average Tuesday. So lock that number 0 AWG into your memory right now. On a real job site, you know you can't just stuff the pipe until the wire loop runs out, right? Well, Rule 12-1806 limits the aggregate cross-sectional area of your wires to a maximum of 40% of the header's interior area. You need room for heat dissipation. It's super important. If you pack a cellular floor to 100% capacity, those conductors are going to overheat, the insulation is going to melt down, and you'll have a massive fault buried under a foot of concrete. Not a fun day at work. But wait, there's a catch. The 40% fill rule applies to standard loose conductors. The code actually gives you an exemption here if you are running specific self-contained jacketed cables, things like mineral insulated cable, aluminum or copper sheathed cable, armored cable like your standard BX or even NMD cable. You are totally exempt from this specific 40% fill limit for the cells. Why? Because these cables already have their own protective outer sheathing and engineered thermal ratings. Always double-check Rule 12-186 if you aren't sure if your specific cable type applies. Next up, let's talk about hardware, splices, and boxes. Rule 12-1808 is a massive field tip, guys. Taps and splices shall be made only in header access units or in junction boxes. Let me say it louder for the folks in the back. Absolutely no hidden splices buried in the middle of a floor cell. Imagine trying to troubleshoot a broken circuit, and the splice is buried 10 feet down a concrete pipe under someone's cubicle. Yeah, you can't get to it. All your connections must be accessible. If you see a multiple choice question asking where a splice is allowed in a cellular floor, you immediately look for junction box or header access unit.
Now, when you're physically out there installing these junction boxes and inserts, rules 12-1812 and 12-1816 give you some very strict steps to pass your inspection. First, level them to floor grades so nobody trips over them. Second, seal them against water. Nobody wants a mopped floor causing a short circuit, right? Third, ensure electrical continuity. If you spot weld, you must do it in the open spaces between cells, never to the cell walls themselves, otherwise you'll burn a hole right through the thin metal. And finally, when you are cutting into the floor, you have to prevent metal chips and tools from falling in. A sharp metal shaving left inside a cell will slice right through your conductor insulation when you pull the wire.
Moving on to bonding and system extensions. Under Rule 12-1-1814, you actually need a separate bonding conductor installed in these electrical cells, and it must be sized according to Table 16. You can't just rely on the metal floor for your bond. It doesn't work that way. When you need to extend from the floor to a cabinet, Rule 12-1818 says to use rigid conduit, flex metal conduit, or approved fittings. And finally, Rule 12-1820 makes it crystal clear. If an outlet is discontinued, you pull those dead conductors completely out of the floor. Do not leave abandoned, potentially live wire hazards buried in a commercial building. Clean it up.
All right, let's see how much you've retained with some red seal practice questions.
Here's question number 1. What is the maximum insulated conductor size permitted in a cellular floor without an allowed deviation? Think back a few minutes to what we just talked about. This is a direct test of your memory on hard limits, and it is a super common trap they'll throw at you on the exam. Did you get it? If you answered number 0 AWG based on Rule 12-1804, you completely nailed it. Like I said before, this number needs to be permanently burned into your brain for exam day. Anything bigger than number 0 and you are breaking the rule. Okay, let's try just one more. Under CEC 2024 Rule 12-1808, where are you permitted to make taps and splices in a cellular floor? Try to think back to those practical site rules we covered about hiding connections and troubleshooting. The correct answer is only in header access units or in junction boxes. Remember, you can never, ever hide a splice inside the inaccessible raceway of the floor. Keep it accessible, keep it legal. Time to wrap things up with an exam cheat sheet recap. Here is today's red seal takeaway. If you remember only 3 things from this explainer, you've got to make it these. Number 1, the max conductor size is number 0 AWG. Number 2, taps and splices must absolutely be in junction boxes or headers, never ever hidden. And number 3, you must run a separate bonding conductor sized right out of Table 16. So are you ready to stop memorizing the code and start actually understanding it? Thanks for studying with me today. If you found this lesson helpful, please like, subscribe, and comment with the next CEC topic you'd like to learn. Keep studying, stay safe, and good luck on your red seal journey.